speak to us, that was all.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the October meeting of Murrumbidgee Council. Welcome to all councillors present and to all the staff who joined us here today. In the spirit of open, accessible and transparent government, and to ensure this meeting is open to the public, this council meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the Murrumbidgee Council Facebook page. A recording will also be placed on Council's website. I'll ask for any apologies. No apologies. We'll move to the confirmation of minutes of the ordinary council meeting of the 22nd of September 2020. Somebody like to move? Moved Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Cherwin. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. I'll remind councillors of their pecuniary interest declarations. I have two with me here at the moment. No. Thank you for those councillors that have submitted those for noting, and I'll move on to the mayoral report. I apologise for the lateness of this report. As I alluded to in the mayoral report, the October has certainly been very brought lots of different weather patterns with it to us. It's very much spring. The crops are looking fantastic, and let's hope that they can deliver. We are very much in the pathway of La Nina, and so the extremes are not. They're all being experienced right across the eastern part of Australia, but let's hope that the damage is minimal. Our COVID-19 status is cautiously moving forward. We still find there are challenges, particularly the closer you are to the Victorian border, but hopefully with how things are evolving this week, things will be more doable and user-friendly. It's everybody's responsibility from here into the foreseeable future to adhere to the basic rules that hopefully will keep us safe. I alluded to progress amongst some of our major projects in the Murrumbidgee Council area. The swimming pool here in Jerilderie is almost complete. The lake bank remediation project is moving along. The sports precinct in Colliambley that I viewed the other day appears to be moving along. And the Darlington Point display and amenities building is looking great, and the boat ramp is moving along in the right direction. Our town revitalisation projects are giving our communities something that we can really look forward to and hope to see the real signs of very, very quickly. It's really rewarding to see elected representatives and operational staff working so closely and collaboratively together, and I think the end results are going to be amazing. Our communities are very lucky. On the 8th of October, the CWA Stir Cruise conference was held here in Jerilderie. We were very lucky to have a hall the size of that we have here. That's why it was held here, and there was only allowed to be 30 people in a room that size. So that gives you an idea of just how much space you require for people. On the 10th of October, Councillor Rob Black and I attended the Night at Warringesta celebration, which was part of a week-long Yarrawalla Wiradjuri Cultural Festival. It was extremely well done, and it was entertaining and thought-provoking, and it's my hope that Council is able to in the future do something to recognise, as it should, the important part that Warringesta has played up there. And on the 11th of October, I attended a virtual forum with elders talking about their culture and heritage. Congratulations to Western Riverina Arts for producing and facilitating this festival. I have attended two stakeholder water advisory group meetings for the Sidland projects and the Anco Creek in the last month. slow and steady would be the most generous critique I can offer in this space at this time. It's 2 years of my life I will probably never get back, and it's a very, very difficult, onerous process to work our way through. Jerilderie held their initial business Murrumbidgee meeting here in Jerilderie. They had 21 people attending, apparently, so hopefully there's some progress on that front. And on Friday, Councillor Smith and I both attended the launch of the Redneck River Run in Darlington Point, coordinated and run by Tammy and Gavin Gilbert. It is the annual fundraising event for Country Hope, and they do a great job, so congratulations to them both. And just at the end of my report, I congratulated a staff member, Brooke Williams, and her husband Ben on the safe arrival of their baby girl last Friday, and again offer our deepest sympathy to Faith Bryce and her family on the loss of her dad. Below there's a list of meetings I've attended. Probably the one of note was that we did host the Murray-Darling Basin Authority Water and Environment meeting here in Jerilderie, where Sir Angus Houston and Philip Glyde from the MDBA and the local representative out of Griffith attended, and Yaktak were in attendance and promoted and showed their 4-minute video that they have created about the Yanco Billabong system. So it's a very, as I said, it's a very it's a very time-consuming committee and area to be involved in, but we just have to keep pegging away at it. So that's my report. Are there any questions, please? If not, I'd like to move. Councillor Smith, secondly, Councillor, those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? We move now to the main body of the business paper, and item 1 and pass over to the General Manager, please.
All right, thank you. Just a couple of things to mention that I haven't written about. One of them is that the state's been going through a process to reclassify 15,000 kilometres of regional roads, local roads, whatever, into a different classification and take them over, for want of a better word, to run with it. We've gone through the analysis here. Joe and Will and Steve put forward in relation to everything. Joe did some in-depth analysis about what their triggers were for acceptance of the roads and everything else like that. And to be perfectly honest, we don't have anything that's existing within our road network to change, so we did not make any submissions to the tribunal that is looking after any of this. So my understanding was, from conversations we've had with them in the past, that it's a process that they will only look at the roads that local government puts forward. We haven't put forward any roads, so in the first round at least, we're not going to be caught up with anything. They'll be more focused on other, more highly sought after roads to be transitioned, which is possibly along the coast rather than busing. So, in short, there's nothing happening in that space as far as, well, we're not instigating anything happening in that space. The other thing, I may have read it in other parts of the reports or whatever it was, that we did get a letter last week from Crown Lands saying that the plan of management for Elliott Park is good to go to the next stage of whatever that next stage is. So one would assume that their processes is done. Do they still have to provide owner's consent for the DA, or is that up to us because we manage it?
Well, they're not going to provide owner's consent until it's actually goes through, so the public exhibition and the public hearing. Right. So once that process figures out, we can authorize it.
Right, fair enough. So a lot further advanced than we were 2 weeks ago, put it that way. Right. No worries. The next thing is the COVID-19 changes to the plan, which took effect on the 1st of October. You've got the updated plan there We also made representations to the local member, Justin Clancy, also got messages via Ramjo Chair, Councillor Mack, to the Cross-Border Commissioner about expanding the border region to the Murrumbidgee River. At that time, that was about a week ago, and there was some sort of indication that there was something going to happen within the next 2 weeks. So one would think that's this week or next week. I'm not sure what they're planning to do with the border. Haven't heard anything else come forward from that. The next part there is the Christmas function, as stated in the report. There's a lot of things that we can theoretically do, but whether we can practically complete, it's something that we have to be very, very mindful of in this space of gathering all of our staff and councillors into one location. Whilst we don't dismiss the importance of such a function, I'm always putting the health and safety of everybody, not only of our staff but also of the community, when we sort of make these sort of decisions. So I've just thrown in a couple of things that we practically can't have the event this year in the same format that we've ever had it before. Whether we wish to have it in a format that we can, with the restrictions that are in place currently, with numbers and social distancing and numbers in the group and all of those sort of things that can take place. It's to be decided about. We just had at management meeting, we tried to work out if we didn't have a meeting, what would we do? So a personal Christmas card provided to the staff, and whether as a day of celebration for weathering the COVID storm, sometime in the new year when we can, that we all come together and have a fun day with the councillors, the staff and families, if so sees fit. Both one as a for the Christmas function that we've missed out on, but also as a celebration for weathering the storm. Just the other next point is change the council meeting date. December the 22nd was the date that we've got in the books at the moment. It was always going to be subject to change if we were going to have the Christmas lunch. If we don't have the Christmas lunch, we're still recommending that we bring it forward to Friday the 18th of December. The auditors have told us that that is the last day that they're able to present the statements to us in the this calendar year. Theoretically, they don't need to be there, but I think it's good practice if they're there, and if we can accommodate it and have it on the 18th or even before then that's will work to everybody's favour. Within the business papers, you'll see the returns. Everybody here has got the full extract that council has. We've redacted personal information from all of the forms before we make it publicly available, so before it goes up on the website and everything else like that. So we have that ability through the privacy legislation that we can redact any of those personal information that people might be able to form a identity of somebody.
Like property holdings?
Sorry?
Property holdings.
No, like 9 Gilgumla or whatever it is. So what have we got there? Fine. Like my address has been taken out, right? It still says jewellery, but the address has just been taken out. So we just can't have somebody, or got his name, got his address down below. We know he banks at Bendigo Bank. We know he does all of these things. Let's try and create an identity from there and see how far we get. So we've redacted that, and those copies are on the website even now. And any of these papers that are sitting around on the desks have got the redacted version in them as well. So you've got the complete copy. Council's got the complete copy, just so we can make sure if anybody's telling us a porcupine about the photo. Ramjo subcommittee been working through with the digital connectivity. I state here we hope to get a coverage of about 80%. We're probably a little bit less than that. We've got virtually 4 towers from Jerilderie right through to Darlington Point, where we're planning to put some equipment on, and about 15 to 20 kilometres radius from those 4. Doesn't quite meet 80%, probably meets about 60% of the area that will be covered. Not sure, I'm waiting on a new figure, because the entire grant is smaller than we first thought. For us, we're looking probably at $650,000 capital tag for what we're doing. I think it's much less than that. So by the November meeting, we'll have a very much a budgeted figure that we may or may not require council to put their hand up for in relation to getting the internet coverage across the area. So I'll have the maps of where we plan to cover and what sort of cost that'll be, and what sort of financial support, if any, that council's looking at. Because one of the things that are in the plan that makes it feasible to do this within Murrumbidgee Council is the wireless network that we have between Darlington Point and Jerilderie, linking through Collyhamley, that they could look to take this over as part of their backbone for their backhaul, and do the upgrades and things on it that gets the speeds that they would desire with that. So that might be the only contribution that we have towards this whole grant, is that in-kind support for that system. Applications closed yesterday. I have a quick meeting with the recruiter tomorrow morning with Alan. As I say, the interview panel there is myself, Mayor McRae, Deputy Mayor Black, and we're assisted by Alan and Blackadder Associates.
John, just on that, just in case one of us can't get there, can we have an alternate, just in case one of us get there? It'd be a good idea to have an alternate if one of us can't get there.
I'll pick one. I'll grab somebody.
Okay.
The performance review and training plans have been undertaken for most staff. There was just one or two. Well, all the performance reviewing and training plans have been done, and the requirements that are there. It's more on the allocations to the grades and steps. There was just one or two. There were just a bit out on left field that we're still working through in relation to position descriptions and time. We'll take care of some of those things. There'll be some back payments. I can't recall anything. I haven't got a quantum for you or anything else like that to put everybody in line with the new salary system. At this stage, I'll give you a better indication once that work is complete. Proposing to hold the annual workshop on the 5th, 6th and 7th of February 2020, the COVID restrictions willing. Haven't determined a venue. I've reached out to the Malt House, looking at other venues that we'll be able to do. As I say, the theme will be external revenue, probably with a little bit of a sustainability aspect attached to it, and we can work through those sort of things. You heard from briefing on the financial statements. There's a couple of metrics there that we would desire to meet, and if you think of the 6 metrics that were there, there's only 2 of them that we're not blowing out of the water. So they were the things that we can concentrate on to try and work with our sustainability index for that, so we can get fit for the future, or even now, along those lines. Annual leave, COVID restrictions willing, if the Queensland border ever opens up again, I'd like to take some leave from the 19th to the 10th and request the vehicle use to go visit my mother in Mackay, which is sunny and 28, if anybody's interested. Internal Plant Committee, nominations have been called for 4 staff. Just gave it a bit of a rundown of the sort of type of things that the committee will be undertaking. There's already some automatic members, which is myself or the delegate, which are, plus the workshop manager, supported by a few other staff to be able to do all those wonderful sorts of things that is contained within there. Australia Day celebrations, just once again, the same as the Christmas luncheon. It's, whilst it's theoretically feasible, is it going to be practical? We know that there's been special exemptions given for Remembrance Day on the 11th of November for the RSL to conduct up to 100 people with everything else and everything else and everything else. So that can be a test of a lot of things of what's happening going forward. So just talk about those things. There's no need to worry about the Australia Day celebrations. A decision today, just sort of moving forward. Caravan Park, we were unsuccessful in our MDBA grant. So looking forward to developing the master plan for the Caravan Park, and then from that we'll determine through council which way we'll jump once that master plan has been completed. Yeah, there's $150 million that has been set out for the regional tourism. If I get this right, $50 million of that is being completely identified for international tourism, yep. And then the other $100 million is for every regional and everything else like that. So possibility, we're constantly looking for more detail, and I think there's been any more detail that's come out on that announcement from the budget. So that will be coming fairly soon. When I say detail, application forms, where to put it, what to do, what you have to supply, and all those sort of things. So we're constantly on the lookout for all those things. Finance team's working on the rates harmonisation process. The calendar that Vicky gave me, thank you very much, that we'll be looking for a workshop to be held sometime in February to consider the different various options. Now, the state government or the Office of Local Government is putting forward a few recommendations that come out from the part review into rates, I think it was, or one of those. IPART, Productivity Commission, somebody else, whoever did them all. But I'm not sure, the earliest that they would be legislated would be April. So we'll have all of these options, we'll move forward, and a lot of it was only on virtually, the changes was going to be on the smoothing, if they were going to do anything, on how long or what options we can take to smooth the process moving forward. Private place, I was cautiously optimistic that we would get here once looking at that. We have a very, very late report, and whilst I say it's a late report, there's a lot of information there. Stress, and it'll be in confidence. I'll just stress if council's not comfortable with making the decision because it was so late, we can push this forward to another day. Okay. Just a few little things, just the normal stuff that been up to over the time and the others. So, any questions? So the recommendations that I've got for that is that council does not proceed with any physical Christmas event for 2020. Personal Christmas card will be provided to all staff, signed by elected representatives and general manager, and council provided undertaken on the day. Be set aside for staff and their families to come together for a fun day, celebration, and the first opportunity the COVID restrictions are lifted, and we all feel safe to participate. The December 2020 council meeting will be rescheduled to the 18th of December 2020. And 3, the General Manager, John Scarce, be granted annual leave from the period of 19th of December to the 2nd of January, 9th of January inclusive. Noting the General Manager will remain contactable via mobile phone, email during this time. The General Manager will also be authorised to take a private use vehicle provided to the State of Queensland for that same period. Questions?
Somebody like to move? Councillor Black. Seconded Councillor Smith. Any questions for the General Manager, please? Councillor Wells.
One question. With the plan committee, you haven't considered having a councillor on that committee?
Yes, I have considered, and I said no, but that's nothing to say that you can't. I wanted to get the mechanisms and everything in place and provide council with what the committee can do internally. I just the portability and the flexibility to be able to get the staff to get that, to do the work, and then bring it back to the whole council for the work we've done. That was what I thought first time.
Any further questions of the General Manager, please?
Point 2, December 2020 meeting rescheduled to the 18th.
Yeah.
Can that be rescheduled to the 17th, or has everybody got a preference? It should be a Friday.
No, it can be the Thursday.
Any further comment around that day shift?
I'll support Robert on that.
Okay.
It's okay? Yep. Orders are fine. Perfect.
So am I doing for Vicky?
Yeah.
Yes,
work for
John
everybody.
was chair. So do we need to just change it?
No, it's an extra recommendation.
Just change it to the
The
17th.
mover and seconder are happy for that to be changed to 17th?
Yep.
Yep.
Wait, that's,
The Thursday.
there's one.
Okay.
No, included. Are you including all these? Recommendations?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further questions of the General Manager, please?
No, I don't think you have to read the whole thing again that I just read. No.
Okay, the only change we will make is that the meeting now becomes the 17th and not the 18th. Everybody's comfortable with that? Okay, I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 2, please.
Office closure for Christmas, New Year, special leave provision for administrative officers throughout the year has been a past practice since merger, and the practice of the previous Jewellery Shire was to close down between Christmas and New Year, and the salary the staff receive that as the special leave in lieu of those 110%ers that they do, those extra times finishing up without claiming overtime or time in lieu or anything else like that. That was 4. A little bit different. The reason why it's 4.5 rather than 3.5 days as it was last year. Christmas Day is the 25th. We would close on the day before Christmas Day. I particularly would wish that anybody was travelling to other family or anything else like that they weren't doing that on the Christmas Eve period, but rather the day before or even the morning of. That's why I just suggested that it be the 4.5 days rather than the 3.5 days, finishing on the Thursday, but rather on the Wednesday at lunchtime.
So moved Councillor Curfew, seconded Councillor Churgwin. Any comment around that? Any questions of John? If not, I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 3, please.
Thank you, councillors. You've all been provided with a copy of the draft financial statements, special purpose financial statements and special schedules. This is just a request that you authorise the Mayor and Deputy Mayor to sign the statement by councillors and officers.
Okay, somebody like to move? Move Councillor Bryce, second Councillor Smith. Are there any questions of Vicky, please? If not, I think we had a conversation, Vicky, so I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 4, please.
Sorry.
Hold on, Johan.
So Julie, where you got the going concern thing in the paper?
Where I've got what's in.
Going
Going
concern.
concern thing?
It's up there, it is number 1.
All right, so read what's at the top there, because just for councillors, the going concern paper is also included in the resolution, just moved and seconded.
Okay, I will actually read what the recommendation says for the
Sure.
report. Okay? Following a review at council's workshop, the going concern basis in appropriate for the 30th of June 2020 financial statements and the required disclosures within the statements with regards to going concern are fairly reflected within the applicable notes. 2, council authorise the signing of the statement by councillors and management by the mayor and deputy mayor and endorse the signing by the general manager and finance manager as the responsible accounting officer in relation to the general purpose financial statements and special purpose financial statements. 3, approval to be granted to the mayor and general manager to authorise the submission of completed audited financial statements to the Office of Local Government upon receipt of the audit report. I'll put that again. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carry. Thank you. Your go.
So this report addresses the parking restrictions on the shoulders of the highway in the vicinity of the attachments relating to this report explain the reasoning behind this. So we'll start with attachment 5. So looking at attachment 5, going to the left of the page is heading south towards Kinley. Going right of the page is heading north towards the entry treatment to the vehicles is the 9, basically turn. So what this means is that if the vehicle is slowed down, stop in the southbound travelling lane, in order to make a right-hand turn into the BP, it needs to be clear access to pass the stationary vehicle through the shoulder in order to maintain the traffic. Another reason for the restriction is that local businesses also articulated to the council their preference for parking restrictions to remain through our heavy vehicles. The other point of discussion is the parking restrictions on the northbound shoulders next to the BP, or figure 3 in the report. So the reason parking restrictions are in place in this section are line of sight and safety considerations for vehicles easily complete. So if you look at figure 7 and 8, you have one of council's trucks parked on the shoulders. As you can see, the line of sight of the northbound traffic is reduced significantly. Most of the traffic is parked to the exit. Now just imagine if this heavy vehicle is parked close to the fog line, and there is another heavy vehicle parked behind it. So the vehicle exiting the BP have to creep out onto the travelling lane, clear line of sight, and this is dangerous. I'll leave it to council to determine if you wish to take on risk, removing parking restrictions in this area.
It is a very comprehensive report, Johan. Without wishing to confuse, you can't just say trucks don't stop here, and cars can. Can you do that? I'm just asking because
I guess a lot of the complaints are coming from the heavy vehicles rather than cars because they're just pulled in anyway.
yeah,
I think the space is about 10 heavy vehicles on site.
yes,
I think BP are looking for about possibly 2 vehicles. So.
yeah. Yeah, I'm really pleased that you brought that rationale to the table so that we understand how the traffic movements impact safety and drivability and through traffic and things like that. Yeah, I just know people say to me they're not driving the heavy vehicles, they're just driving the car. And they just want to stop, jump out, grab something, get back in the car and go. But I accept the rationale around your business item. So is there any further comment? Councillor Brown.
Yes, Joanne. Option 3 I thought was attractive. In your options at the end, allowing 40 metres of parking directly in front of BP. And that gives you still a line of sight on each of those 10 cars. Is that correct?
Yes. So option 3, for the benefit of everyone, if you look at attachment 4, so we're looking to possibly potentially allow 40 metres, the big double around 27 metres, so that's plenty. There is still a risk, however, it's not as bad as the traffic light on the exit. So.
And then who polices it? I guess that's the real issue.
So a small vehicle can still be high. It can still block
Potentially.
line of sight.
Potentially, yes.
So you can't win. So it's either none or all.
I guess that option there is just a compromise, if you will.
Yeah, then all of a sudden a small truck pulls in there because he's just like a car, and you lose your line of sight.
Well, I actually don't agree with changing it. I agree with leaving it the same. I have to use it through work 3 times a week probably, and if I stopped out the front and walked all the way in, it's negating my quick trip to the BP where there's parking right at the front door. Yeah. I don't see why it would be changed.
I agree.
Okay, is there any further comment? I guess we've thoroughly discussed it. We've had the rationale explained to it. So somebody like to move the recommendation?
Option 1.
Move Councillor Bright. Oh, Councillor Murphy, seconded. I'm very confused. Who moved it? Moved Councillor Bryce, seconded Councillor Murphy. That the recommendation read, the no stopping signs currently located in the vicinity of Murrumbidgee BP be retained. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thanks, Jennifer. Item 5, please. Bryce, would you like to speak?
Yes. Tidy Towns during COVID put off the annual general meeting until we felt that we had to actually meet to roll over our executive, which we did. The 3 of us met in the open, and we had our treasurer had obtained the financials were audited, and we decided that we just had to have it done so that it was on the books. We haven't had a general meeting. We will be meeting to tidy up the gardens at Memorial Park. That will be an open air meeting, and possibly 20 people may show up. If there's more than 20 people, we will have to send people home. It's unlikely. Besides that, we've put off any discussion on the show and shine until January, February, because we had already outlaid money for this year's event, and it didn't succeed. So it's been decided just to put that off for a while. We did manage to do our the garden judging, and that really is all that we've been able to achieve this year.
Okay, are there any questions of Councillor Bryce regarding these 2 reports? If not, somebody like to move Councillor Nick and seconded Councillor Bryce, that items 5 and 6. 5 and 6 Be noted. Thank you very much. Item 7, please. Collie Amberley Australia Day Committee meeting.
We decided we would go ahead and plan for as completely COVID safe as possible, on the understanding that at any time we will have to cancel and just have to run the awards in a different way. But we've gone ahead with the competitions. And as I said, if things change and we can't have it, we can't have it. We'll just do it in a different way.
It mentioned here, point 16, online streaming of prize and award presentations. How did they envisage that would work?
Alison was going to talk to Michael Wilson, who does the IT at Collie Amberley Irrigation, that if they can't go ahead and they will do a virtual ceremony which will be live streamed.
Councillor Smith.
And just, was it an AGM as well? It's just that it says at item 5, election of office bearers.
Yes, yes, they did. It was an AGM, and the office bearers that were current were re-elected.
Okay, as a matter of process, there should be report and then a general committee report.
Also, Councillor Churgman, as a Section 355 Committee of Council, a financial report is required.
Yes, okay.
Annual financial report. Councillor Curfew.
Point 7, just in regards to the ambassador program. When is the latest time that can be made a decision about having an ambassador? Because will that impact on how the events ran? Just wondering, do we engage the ambassador then cancel the ambassador, or do we need to make a decision for him?
Ms. Sue, can you answer that regarding the ambassador program?
No, sorry, we are applying for an ambassador, but we're not sure whether that will go ahead. They will let us know. So we have applied for one to come, but they will keep us updated when.
Thank you.
When any.
Are there any further questions of Christine? If not, would somebody like to move that this report be noted? Then Councillor Churgan, seconded Councillor Black, and we'll just have this denoted. Thank you. Item 8, please.
Councillors, I present the monthly cash and investment report with figure of investments and a statement of bank balances. Any questions?
Somebody would like to move Vicky's report? Somebody move Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Brown. Are there any questions of Vicky, please, regarding the monthly cash investment report? No? If not, then I'll put the recommendation that states that Council note the monthly cash and investment report containing the bank balances and schedule of investments as at the 30th of September 2020. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 9, please.
Councillors, again, this is the quarterly report for the new council implementation fund.
Just one quick question on this, Vicky. When does this finish?
I can't actually give you a definitive date. We have a budget there which committed our funds, which was a requirement by the 30th of December 2019. We've got some things on the go, a part of which is telephone tower at Bunjula, so it's still to go ahead, so there's still some more. I'm not sure whether they'll come back and say that department will come back and say, give me the money on
Yeah, just
funds.
a question, Vicky. We've got, a budget and then you've got an amended budget and we've actually got the expenditure, but there's quite variations.
No, we didn't, in the first instance. We haven't actually gone back to the department to request that variation.
Is there a time in position on this money?
That's what I say. We had to have it committed, which we committed the funding that was December 2019.
That's committed. That's an overrun, that's a huge overrun of money. So it's just.
Okay.
But in addition to that, some of this money, new money we just received, the tower was
That was the round two.
the round two stuff as well for it, so.
Those four items on the bottom of that listing were the round two funding components.
And by looking at those numbers, we probably expended the round one.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Somebody like to move, please. Move Councillor Smith, seconded Councillor Sherwin. Are there any further questions of Vicky?
Yes, the information technology part of that budget, what we were discussing earlier with the implementation of the new reports and the IT extension to the new system, will that come out of this budget?
Yes, it would.
Any further questions? If not, I'll read the recommendation. It says that the contents of the new council implementation fund September 2020 report be known. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Thank you, Vicky. Item 10, please.
Just giving a quarterly update on the rates and the charges section at the end of September.
That's excellent. If you are only $4,000 outstanding.
Sorry?
That's excellent.
Million.
Councillor Black, I want to buy one of your farms. I'll give you $4,000.
We wish.
No,
What happened last year, we
Yeah,
took 1 percentage point out, so we were very satisfied with that.
the comparative is very good.
I will note that there was a delay given by the department for the first instalment. Until the end of September, and there is some interest charges noted there. We may have to refund that because actually we can't charge the interest until the end of December, so that's been amended prior to the issue of the next instalment, now, which should be in your mailboxes, not today, then tomorrow.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, yes. Okay. So the second instalment date hasn't actually been lengthened, it was only that first instalment date.
Okay, well, now that we have that cleared up, are there any further questions for Vicky? Somebody like to move, please? Councillor Curfew, seconded Councillor Brown. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Please.
Councillors, again, just to report on the current position of the loan borrowings as at the end of September, showing the one external loan still outstanding, which matures next May, and the internal loan there, how that sits at the end of September.
Somebody like to move, please?
Lines.
You've got the numbers right. Councillor Black. Move Councillor Black, seconded Councillor Churban. Are there any further questions of Vicky, please? If not, I'll put the recommendation, which states that the information contained in the loan borrowings report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? No. Thank you. Item 12, please, Vicky.
Councillors, this is again the quarterly report for the Stronger Communities Fund, which is the original $10 million plus the addition. Again, we were required to have that committed by December 2019. We have done that. And it just gives you an indication of where we're at. The attachment there also shows you completed dollars as at the end of September and the remaining balance on that fund. So I will take any questions.
Somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Smith. Are there any questions of Vicky, please, regarding this report?
Just the obvious one. Everything's back and going again. Perhaps William could tell us how we're going with the boat ramp. That's all happening again, is it?
Well, how about we address that in the
in the other report? Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Vicky, the interest, are we able to use that as we see fit, or does that have to be given a green light when it's used by?
Well, as you will note down the bottom of the attachment, you had actually proposed funds in excess of what we received, so that interest is meeting those conditions.
Yep.
To this stage, and you may also note actually down the bottom that we are now have some excess funds.
Yep.
Which will very easily be utilised with a couple of the major projects that are currently in train, and I'm thinking the jewellery pool, there's going to be an over expenditure there due to some variations. But, you know, there's some other big funds there too, which may possibly pretty major projects still.
Councillor Smith.
The Darlington Point Town Life, 8,000 for the town information boards and tourism. Is that going to become allocated to the Murrumbidgee?
Well, their town revitalisation project.
Those storyboards and that, isn't that part of that development?
I'm not sure. I think, Kelly, you were doing some things.
Yes, I think I looked at it a week or two ago. I picked up the original application form where it said it was information boards, tourism sites, 2 planned for Darlington Point, 1 for Collyambley and 2 for Jewellery in there. So I was going to meet with Darlington Point Town Life Committee to sort of start the rolling to go what were they envisaging and to go from there. But that's what the original. I have to also double check to go. The one that is on the entrance for Collyambley, is that Collyambley sort of ticked, or is there another board that's meant to be going in?
There's been work done on Colly.
I'm just going to do some background research to go, has something already been done or in place of for some towns and then
Okay, so would it not be appropriate for that review to be sort of reasonably expedient because of the revitalisation program that we're undertaking and the signage and that the communities are looking at refurbishing and doing?
Yes. So we will leave that with Kelly, and you will speak with the relevant people in each community to see how that transpires. Yep. Good eye. Councillor.
Note to the town entrance signs at Darlington Point are not complete. they were supposed to be trimmed in a reflective trim around the names of Darlington Point. So the reflection can be seen by the highlights. That hasn't been completed. They may have been signed off, but the actual sign has not been fully completed. Just pointing out.
Whose job is that?
I'll look into it. We've probably done it at the start, but yeah, it's a follow-up to do.
So you'll include that in the brief for Darlington Point?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, councillor Curfew. Any further questions, please, or comments? If not, somebody like to move this report, please. Moved councillor Brock, seconded councillor Turgwin. The recommendation reads that the information contained in the stronger community report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 13, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Monthly report on bushfire preparedness works that we're undertaking. The last month we've done a lot of slashing and graded all the fire trails around Dartmoor and slashing vegetation around each town. The next month we are slashing of asset protection zones. With the current weather, that's going to be ongoing throughout the bushfire period. And we have someone coming to mulch ground vegetation in the national park along the fence line of the national park on the council side of Dartmoor Point. Questions?
Okay. Are there any questions of as regarding this report? If not, would somebody like to move? Moved councillor Curfew, seconded councillor Turgwin. And the recommendation reads that the information contained in this report be noted and updates be provided during each month of the fire season. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Thanks, Will.
My activities during the month of September.
Somebody like to move councillor Blake, seconded councillor Smith. Are there any questions regarding this report? If not, I'll put the recommendation which reads the information contained in the finance manager's report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 15, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is my monthly report. It identifies the activities that I've been involved with over the last month. Does anyone have any questions about those activities? Yes.
Are they all manned?
What we've started to do is inspections of
Okay.
private footy fields.
Okay, councillor Smith.
Could I please know what PVP and S88B refers to?
Sorry.
Complaints and
Property.
compliance.
Sorry.
Under the complaints and compliance.
Oh, thank you. Property vegetation plan and section 88B, that was in relation to subdivision.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, PVP is a property vegetation plan.
Yep.
And a section 88B is a restriction on the title of land. So this particular matter related to Wormtech and Ribcott subdivision, where the development approval for the original Ribcott site identified some significant vegetation on the site, and for them to be involved in clearing some of that, they agreed to undertake a property vegetation plan, which is essentially a right to maintain that vegetation for a period of time.
Okay, are there any further questions of Kelly regarding her report? If not, would somebody like to move, please? Moved councillor Turpin, seconded councillor Smith. Those in favour for the recommendation which will read, information contained in the manager planning and environment monthly report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 16.
Madam Mayor. Just a report on monthly activities for the past month. Do you wish just to draw council's attention to under business Murrumbidgee section, last month at the September council meeting, business Murrumbidgee was listed as section 355 committee. However, as they're now going to be a standalone organisation, if you wish to update or revoke the section 355 status and representative to that.
Okay, I'll open that for discussion now. What is council's feeling regarding maintaining section 355 status or removing that and allowing it to be the standalone initiative which is proposed?
It being a standalone initiative is a better idea.
I think it's healthier for the community.
Councillor Churgman and Councillor Smith, yes, any further comment? Is it the feeling of the people at the table that it be removed as the proposed section 355 committee and become a standalone business Murrumbidgee entity? Please raise your hand. Okay, Kelly, that's a clear message. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. Then just any other further questions? Councillor Smith?
Actually, Ned Kelly touring route brochures arrived as yet?
They're coming. They just had a hold up on the border as the printer, and I think other representatives were not in the border bubble, so they're trying to get them across. I believe Wangaratta's now in the border bubble, and the representative from Wangaratta said she'll come across to Jerilderie to drop those off for it. So just to work out when she's coming across them.
I note that you've confirmed the 27th of November for our photo shoot.
Yep.
You'll let us know how you want us to.
Yes, absolutely. I haven't put it out there. This will probably sort of be the first public realm, but we'll certainly pop it out there to businesses, tourism operators, and sort of have a bit of an agenda for run on the shoot, start lining up talent as well to participate on the day.
How many hours does he?
Sorry?
How many hours? Is it a whole day? Or?
Yeah, and interestingly, due to daylight saving and everything, I was looking at it to go, yep, that'll be a 5:15 start in the morning, so we get the sunrise shots, and a 6:30 finish, so we get the sunset shots as well. So it was a slightly shorter days when we were going to Point Polyamberley, but we'll hopefully get a lot done during that day. So
hopefully we have our steel wings lit up, and that could be photographed before sunrise.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. I pushed back the date a little bit due to the lake and the works there that sort of anticipated like a late October, early November, and then.
Yep.
Kelly, I note the annual general meeting of Thrive Riverina is on the 10th of November.
Yes.
Which is being held in Tumut. So Kelly will attend via Zoom, and I will attempt to link in whenever I can. So any other, just to be having progress, Kelly, on the chapters of Chambers of Commerce in Darlington Point and Jerilderie. Is there anything to report there? Not in that. It's still like the people who put their hand up, Darlington Point, Jerilderie, sort of form a committee, that they were going to have meetings, I think, just to sort of get their ball rolling, and their structure and how they're going to work as like a chapter. And once they've sort of got that going, to then go out to the wider business in both of those towns, to sort of start pulling together like official meetings for both towns. Are there, Councillor Smith?
I was just going to ask, have you had any additional conversations with the Jerilderie chapter committee since the initial meeting?
Yes, yep. In that, and it's really, I've spoken with Ted once or twice, just to see, you know, mainly is there anything you'd like to do in terms of support, and then just to see, is there anything else we can be doing, or businesses, do you want me to put anything in the newsletter to do a sort of a rally of the troops or anything all out for them? So if they're certainly aware, we're here to support them if they need the support or admin help.
Okay, are there any further questions of Kelly? Please, if not, would somebody like to move? Move Councillor Bryce, seconded Councillor Smith. And the recommendation reads information. Sorry? The recommendation reads that A, Business Murrumbidgee Section 355 status is revoked, and B, the information contained in the Manager Economic and Tourism Development Monthly Report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 17, please.
Good afternoon. Just a monthly report of my activities. Update on the boat ramp. Since writing this report, the concrete works have been completed, which includes the ramp itself and the cul-de-sac, and the new pontoon is the next element of the boat ramp to be installed. So the water levels in the river aren't going to cause delays now that the works at the water's edge are now finished.
Timeline for that completion?
20th of November.
So that's about when they said?
Yeah. So the one of the contractors is currently keeping his barge at our depot, starting to point to when he's back finishing some other work, he'll drop it in the water and start.
Okay, are there any further questions? Councillor Wells.
The access road up near Cemetery Lane, that'll be taken off the top of the levee bank?
I've checked the documentation I had, it shows the road in its current position. So I'm going to go back through and so I can't see if I can find a plan that shows it coming around that right there.
I believe it's got to be changed and it's got to go around the back.
Do you know what that means?
Yeah, I know where it's got to go.
Okay. All right. Any further commentary? Councillor Brown.
Yeah, just a query. Where are we up to with our waste disposal inquiry? A couple of months ago, I missed the last meeting, I'm sorry, but they were looking into it, our dumps and what options we were looking at.
Our surveyor has got a surveyor to do an aerial survey of each landfill, and that through that they'll capture the volumes of waste there and the volume remaining. We just need to analyse that information and work it out. So it's a bit of stuff to go through, but it's good, give them some good information to work with.
Right. Yep.
Any further questions?
Yeah, question on the plinth location and works underway at Carlton Cemetery. Did we sign off on the plinth design?
Yeah, it was decided to go a plinth similar to what's there rather than the full concrete type that was at Colambly.
Two archways to go in on the western fence too, isn't there?
Yes, yeah, that'll be put in once we get the going.
Okay. Any further questions? If not, somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Kirky. That the recommendation reads that the information contained in the Operations Manager Maintenance Monthly Report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 18, please.
Yeah, my report for the month. In relation to Ben Cubbon Avenue, the design is all irrigation have requested further revisions in terms of works. So they have till close of business today to finalise the request. Procurement of material 2016.
Are there any questions of Johan, please? If not, somebody like to move, please? Moved Councillor Ross, second Councillor Rubin. That the recommendation read, the information contained in North Manager's Construction Monthly Report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item 19, please.
It's just my monthly report because the works have been, things have been working on over the month of September. So, is there any questions?
Just at that meeting, there was a recommendation from the AMBOs and the police for signs for all properties. What's our outcome there?
Yeah, so we're going to be looking into the amount of signs and people that require replacement of signs, and work out a system for that to happen, and as well as a education program around addressing what the signs are. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
So Steve, you're going to be looking into that, and you will just advise us before the next meeting. Do you think we need to make an issue of urgency given the emergency services have identified it as an issue?
Yeah, we'll be working on it between now and then and come back with further information.
The local ambulance officer told me last Saturday that he had another problem last week.
Okay.
With the rural address.
Okay, are there, Steve, I just note here that the courthouse gutters were done in Jerilderie. I think that building is looking really neglected and dilapidated, and I haven't got any bright ideas as to how best to deal with it, but it just, I think we actually need to look at it and make a decision about what to do with it, otherwise it's just a bit of an eyesore.
It's falling into significant disrepair because it is not being maintained.
And on that note, Land of Three, which is Stephen, Kelly and Kelly, notice about that and the stables, to see what can come forth in relation to all of that. Just, I don't know what can be done. So hopefully Kelly DeSenia can find some money to get it done, and Kelly and Stephen can tell us what has to be done.
Okay.
Moving forward.
Thank you. And I note, Steve, that there's still no firm decision on how they're going to go about rationalising or merging or doing what the RFS regions, zones.
Oh, we've got that memo agreement that come forward, which we're working through.
Yeah. But I'm just letting people know we are still trying to operate under two zones, which is significantly challenging. So, as the General Manager alluded to, there is a proposal which will need to be worked through.
Yeah.
Councillor Brown.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know how we're getting on with the hall up there and the point. We've been talking about it for months, surely, with where are we up to? When can we make a decision? What's the budget? We need to look at all of that, don't we?
Yeah, well, there's funding under the Stronger Communities Fund that was allocated towards the hall, and work should be getting more over this week.
Yeah,
Start next week.
yeah, we've awarded the job, and he was looking to start on this week or next week. So, and he's got a 4-week turnaround time to actually complete the work.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
I reported in this last meeting, Councillor Brown just sort of stated that there was issues with the structure, that they were fixable and things like that, and it was council's decided that we'll move forward on doing what we needed to do. So they went out to the market to get the people to come forth, and hopefully they'll start work in a week or so and do that. I don't know how much of the $400,000 we got. We'll take that out of that fund, and then what we got left with the balance, they'll do all the other works that have been identified for them.
Yeah, needs to be. Well, that's good. Sorry.
Are there any further questions? If not,
I'd just like to state one thing, that Stephen's been working very diligently with Transport for New South Wales in relation to our accreditation and our systems and everything else like that. It's a plan that Stephen's working towards, and we've had the R2 accreditation audited once, and they came back with some areas to some non-conformances, as they say. He's been whittling away at all of those. He hopes to have them complete very soon. He'll send them. We're trying to get to a space where we're going to start operating as if we're R2 accredited early in the new calendar year, which will give us a 6-month lead into before when we have to do it proper on the 1st of July, just so that we can look through our systems, do anything else, or tweak them or do whatever before we have to go live. So, got anything further to add to that?
Yeah, just looking to submit our, after the corrective actions of the sort through, submit our documentation to Transport again, have the R2 accreditation, and that's going to give us that 6 months to work on.
Which is huge. It's something that we need to have. It's been worked on. It's going to be quite an accomplishment. So thank you, Stephen, and everybody else involved.
Steve, I note here, reading through these MIA Bushfire Management Committee meetings, that I think we had this conversation at the last meeting that Christine hadn't even been notified that there was a meeting on, and I don't know if you were or not, but there's... Yeah, well, I was just asking if somebody had contacted them to please include our operational staff in representation. Thanks, Steve. Okay. Are there any further questions of Steve? If not, somebody like to move? Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Smith. The recommendation read, the information contained in the Asset Manager Monthly Report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against?
This is a report on the Corporate and Community Services section for the past month. A report on my work, the community services, the library. No changes from last month with the library. There is a Western Riverina Library to be held this week via Zoom, which Councillor Smith and I will be attending. Then there's also a list of the projects for the drought support projects for each town, where things are up to. And there's a financial report in the attachments for the community services, and also the list for the rules of the lesson report all sectors have been appointed. Darlington Point and Jerilderie remain the same lessees as we had last year, which was Beck Norris and Paige Nash, and Colliambley is Peter and Fiona Clark. The Darlington Point pool will open on the 2nd, the Colliambley pool on the 5th, and depending on when the Jerilderie pool is finished, we're not sure, it's towards the end of the month. Any questions?
Just got a question. This is because I probably have no idea. I just wonder why the Roads to Recovery quarterly report is done by you.
I think that's just a hangover from the previous.
All right, okay.
Resourcing.
Resourcing. So you're very across many silos. Yeah, that's okay.
And Vicky has a lot on her plate, so I just kept doing that too.
Yeah,
take
okay.
some of that off.
No worries. Any further questions, Councillor Church?
So you say that the rest of I'm assuming that the coordinators are contacting clients regularly to check on their welfare. How regular is regular?
Oh, weekly.
Weekly. Just that I'm just feeling that some of that on there just, I don't know why, but are in distress over the community transport thing. I just wondered if why, when we're checking on them regularly, they're still so concerned as to thinking that it's not available to them.
Yeah, well, the coordinators have taken around letters to all the clients to explain to them the situation, so they did that probably after the last meeting. And then, yes, they have been, you know, going around to deliver Meals on Wheels. Perhaps they don't get to everybody.
But it is regular, so.
Yes.
Is there no community group in Colambly that can pick up this friendly visiting neighbour group or something? I mean, from where I sit, it is just purely because they can't do what they want to do. Because their basic medical and sustenance needs are being met and identified.
And I don't know why this keeps coming up, because I do know that regularly they're meeting for coffee and stuff like that, so it is still happening, but I just keep getting this coming back to me about the community transport, and I'm saying, but it is available. If you need something through a medical reason, no, you can't go shopping, but no, you can. And I was just wondering when you said regular, but that's often enough. So,
if you do get any complaints or questions, if you can just ask them to ring me or Kerry, and we can go through it with them.
It is difficult, Councillor Turpin, if you're at the coalface and you're wearing it, but human nature is we all want to do what we want to do when we want to do it, but we're living in a pandemic. So, and you might be feeling isolated, you might be feeling old and cross and crotchety, or not even so old. But we are, and at all times have adhered to public health orders. We will continue to do so.
Just Sue, on forums, I keep on forgetting it. But the second drought money, we've only got until the end of November to put in a new budget or anything for any underspends or whatever. Have we thought about that? Because we know there's a couple of things.
Samantha has applied for an extension.
She's applied for an extension. So, but my understanding was that we have to have even if we have an extension, we can't change the budget. So we've got money set aside that we know we've only paid half of it for, which is the adverse event plan. Right. So we've got $25,000 there that could be reallocated. My understanding was we only had until the end of November to make that reallocation.
I'll check that. I'm not sure if she's done both of those. Or...
Just so it can be back for the November council meeting if there's going to be anything before we submit it.
Any further questions of Sue? Thanks. If not, would somebody like to move this report? Move Councillor Churgan, seconded Councillor Kersey, and the recommendation reads: the information contained in the manager corporate and community services monthly report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 21, please.
I actually excuse me. It's
I'm supposed to do one of those. Am I supposed to do one of those?
Yeah.
Well, it's only a list of the determination.
Yeah, I know, but just to double,
Oh, yeah.
run away just to be double sure.
Councillors, just information for you as to the applications that have been issued this month. You'll see that fairly standard dwelling, alterations, sheds. There is a on-farm water storage, the processing of the gym and netball works, and the last one is the Candy Borough, where they actually have two transportables, one to be used for a music room, one for a therapy room.
Okay, are there any questions of Kelly? If not, would somebody like to move? Move Councillor Tubman, seconded Councillor Black. I'll put the recommendation that the information contained in the development applications approved under delegation September 2020 be noted. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Put your hand up. Please, you, put your, because we've got to have a quorum.
I just got them.
Yep. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item, what are we up to?
22.
22, please.
Yeah, just the biosecurities monthly report. Questions in regards to that?
You could have had plenty of all the chemicals this summer, I'd say.
Yeah.
Have you got plenty in store? No, just sides of roads with windy eyes and other stuff.
Okay. Are there any questions of Steve regarding this report? If not, would somebody like to move this report? Move Councillor Black, seconded Councillor Brown. For the recommendation, the information contained in the biosecurity sale-outs truck wash and stock control report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item 23, please.
So council capital works for the next few weeks include McGrath Road in Polyamblic and Columbia Creek Road in Jerilderie. For upcoming works, Elliott Lane in Jerilderie was initially scheduled for November. However, we will pencil in the reconstruction of Bergen Oaklands Road instead. This is to ensure that the small construction jobs are completed and not pushed back to the cooler months should these occur. Larger projects, so Channel 9, Ben Coven. Resheeting of Elliott Lane or any other resheeting works can occur in May or June or the winter months. However, construction works ideally should be undertaken during the warm months. So if you look at the construction column, you'll notice that the final figure of $142,000 for North Warren Road, which is $37,000 over the budgeted figure. Now, don't be alarmed by this, as this was expected. But this budget figure was based on 1920 resheeting methodology, where there was a mixture of gravel and crushed rock. In 2021, Council is trialling different resheeting methods in order to determine over the next few years as to what goes best for Council in terms of total cost of ownership of each asset. So you'll notice if you travel on Brown Road in Coleambally, the different composition and colour, the 10-kilometre section on Seal Road. Again, we did that to determine which resheeting method stands the test of time and provides lower cost of ownership. In terms of funding, we have deliberately not allocated approximately $600,000 for roads to recovery funding to reassess the budget in December. Works until June 2021 if the newer methods are continued. Are there any questions?
So where, is that a different source that you're gaining that from?
Yeah, so different source, different composition. This year we're looking at, instead of gravel, crushed rock, we're looking at 60 cubic metres per 100 metres length of fully crushed rock road base. See how long this lasts for. Previous method of 25 cubic metres per 100 metres. We're going back to resheet every year, every 2 years. We'll try this method and see if we can extend the life of resheeting. If it doesn't, then we're trying something new to see.
Yeah. Some of the people who live on Four Quarters Road, but that piece you've done down the Nelliana end.
Right.
And I see here you've got resheeting. You're going to do that first 1.1 car or whatever.
So from the bitumen, 1.6 kilometres.
Yeah.
I think we'll be adding another 600 metres on top of that. 7 metres.
Yeah. That's the bit that's really bad right at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's pretty mid to end of November. Start that.
The work that was done in Brits Road to pick up the drainage there, the water is still ponding there at the present time. That was causing an issue with water. Still ponding there at the moment.
Yeah, we're aware of that. With some access ways back into the residents with their garages.
Any further comments, Councillor Wells? Are you happy with that? No. Councillor Kirby, did you have anything?
Yeah, I was going to ask a question. When is that going to be fixed? That drainage issue on Bridge Road? Is that going to be fixed, or are we just going to leave it the way it is?
So we're going to go back and fix it. We just said when we first dug it up, it rained, and the residents couldn't get into their garages that back onto Bridge Road. So we're putting some gravel so they can access it. But once we get it set for a long bit of dry weather, we're going to go back and fix it up.
Yeah, I was just confused with the outcome. Was it the outcome to get access to that back for the residents, or was it the water to be drained away from the back of those properties?
That's where the water drains.
Okay, so that's the outcome. The water's going to be drained away from those properties.
Yes, correct, yes.
Yep, thank you.
Any further questions?
The only other question, Ben Coven, you said you had the plan.
Yes.
Do you have a estimated time you're going to start?
We've got a site walk in 2 weeks. Construction crew, design engineers, surveyors, potential contractors. So we'll be walking the whole length. They'll be asking any and all questions. So that'll be done in 2 weeks. As I mentioned earlier, procurement will start next month. So we're hoping all the materials will be on the ground before Christmas. First week back from January, let's get into it.
Question I ask is, there is peak periods that area needs to be used for maybe rain in and out. It might be advantageous to have a look when your best window is to carry out that work. If that's, as long as that's your best window, that just needs to be assessed for the traffic movements that are going to be there.
We have spoken to stakeholders. They have recommended.
That's the time frame.
January.
Excellent. Well done.
December.
Yep, as long as everybody's on the same page, good. Yeah, with a committee. Thank you.
Councillor Smith.
I was just wondering who bears the cost for the tarmac damage where the levee bank's being reworked out here, the way around
and the curb and
guttering.
Well, the walkway around the lake is part of
remediation.
the cost.
Yep.
We've brought it to the attention of the contractor where the Kenworth is screwed round.
Yep.
And I consider it's his to fix.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say he'll fix it.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? If not, somebody like to move. This moved Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Rice, that the information contained in the works in progress report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. That's the end of our ordinary meeting. Which I'd like to move that we move into confidential, please. Councillor Swift, those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you.
That's the one.
And then